Bereshith chapter 31. And he heard the words of Laban's sons, saying, Yaakov has taken away all that was our father's, and from what belonged to our father he has made all this wealth. And Yaakov would look at the face of Laban and see that it was not toward him as before. And Yahweh said to Yaakov, Return to the land of your fathers and to your relatives, and I am with you. And Yaakov sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field, to his flock, and said to them, I see your father's face, that it is not toward me as before, but the Elohim of my father has been with me. And you know that I have served your father with all my strength. Yet your father has deceived me and changed my wages 10 times, but Elohim did not allow him to do evil to me. When he said this, the speckled are your wages, then all the flocks bore speckled. And when he said this, the streaked are your wages, then all the flocks bore streaked. So Elohim has taken away the livestock of your father and given them to me. And it came to be, at the time when the flocks conceived, that I lifted my eyes and looked in a dream and saw the rams which leaped upon the flocks were streaked, speckled, and mottled. And the messenger of Elohim spoke to me in a dream, saying, Yaakov. And I said, Here I am. And he said, Lift your eyes now and see, all the rams which leap on the flocks are streaked, speckled, and mottled, for I have seen all that Laban is doing to you. I am the isle of Beth-el, where you anointed the standing column and where you made a vow to me. Now rise up, get out of this land, and return to the land of your relatives. And Rachel and Leah answered and said to him, Do we still have any portion or inheritance in our father's house? Are we not reckoned by him as strangers? For he has sold us and also entirely consumed our silver. For all the wealth which Elohim has taken from our father are ours and our children's. Now then, do whatever Elohim has told you. So Yaakov rose and put his sons and his wives on camels, and he drove off all his livestock and all his possessions which he had acquired, his property of the livestock which he had acquired in Paddan Aram, to go to his father Yitzchak in the land of Canaan. And when Laban had gone to shear his sheep, Rachel stole the house idols that were her father's. And Yaakov stole the heart of Laban the Aramean, because he did not inform him that he was about to flee. And he fled with all that he had. And he rose up and passed over the river, and headed toward the mountains of Gilead. And on the 3rd day Laban was told that Yaakov had fled. Then he took his brothers with him and pursued him for 7 days' journey, and he overtook him in the mountains of Gilead. But in a dream by night Elohim came to Laban the Aramean, and said to him, Guard yourself, that you do not speak to Yaakov, either good or evil. Then Laban overtook Yaakov. Now Yaakov had pitched his tent in the mountains, and Laban with his brothers pitched in the mountains of Gilead. And Laban said to Yaakov, What have you done, that you have stolen my heart and driven my daughters off like captives taken with a sword? Why did you flee secretly and deceive me, and not inform me, and I would have sent you away with joy and songs, with tambourine and lyre? And you did not allow me to kiss my sons and my daughters. Now you have been foolish to do this. It is in the power of my hand to do evil to you. But the Elohim of your father spoke to me last night, saying, Guard yourself that you do not speak to Yaakov either good or evil. And now you have gone because you greatly long for your father's house, but why did you steal my mighty ones? And Yaakov answered and said to Laban, Because I was afraid, for I said, Lest you tear your daughters away from me. With whomever you find your mighty ones, let him not live. In the presence of our brothers, see for yourself what is with me, and take it with you. For Yaakov did not know that Rachel had stolen them. And Laban went into Yaakov's tent, and into Leah's tent, and into the tents of the 2 female servants, but he did not find them. And he came out of Leah's tent and entered Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the house idols and put them in the camel's saddle and sat on them. And Laban searched all about the tent, but did not find them. And she said to her father, Let it not displease my master that I am unable to rise before you, for the way of women is with me." And he searched, but did not find the house idols. And Yaakov was wroth and contended with Lavan. And Yaakov answered and said to Lavan, "What is my transgression? What is my sin that you have hotly pursued me? Now that you have searched all my goods, what have you found of all your household goods? Put it here before my brothers and your brothers, and let them decide between the two of us. These 20 years I have been with you. Your ewes and your female goats have not miscarried their young, and I have not eaten the rams of your sheep. That which was torn by beasts I did not bring to you. I myself bore the loss of it. You required it from my hand, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. I was, by day the heat consumed me, and the frost by night, and my sleep fled from my eyes. These 20 years I have been in your house. I served you 14 years for your 2 daughters and 6 years for your flock, and you have changed my wages 10 times. Unless the Elohim of my father, the Elohim of Abraham, and the awe of Yitzchak had been with me, you would now have sent me away empty-handed. Elohim has seen my affliction and the labor of my hands, and rendered judgment last night." And Lavan answered and said to Yaakov, "These daughters are my daughters, and these children are my children, and this flock is my flock, and all that you see is mine. But what shall I do today to these, my daughters, or to their children whom they have borne? And now, come, let us make a covenant, you and I, and it shall be a witness between you and me." So Yaakov took a stone and put it up as a standing column. And Yaakov said to his brothers, "Gather stones." And they took stones and made a heap, and they ate there on the heap. And Lavan called it Yegar Sahadhutha, but Yaakov called it Galed. And Lavan said, "This heap is a witness between you and me today." That is why its name was called Galed. Also Mitzpah, because he said, "Let Yahweh watch between you and me when we are out of each other's sight. If you afflict my daughters, or if you take other wives besides my daughters, although no man is with us, see, Elohim is witness between you and me." And Lavan said to Yaakov, "See this heap, and see this standing column which I have placed between you and me. This heap is a witness, and this standing column is a witness that I do not pass beyond this heap to you, and you do not pass beyond this heap and this standing column to me for evil. The Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Nachor, and the Elohim of their father rightly rule between us." And Yaakov swore by the awe of his father Yitzchak. And Yaakov brought an offering on the mountain and called his brothers to eat bread. And they ate bread and spent the night on the mountain. And Lavan rose up early in the morning and kissed his sons and daughters and barak them. And Lavan left and returned to his place. Bereshith, chapter 32. And Yaakov went on his way, and the messengers of Elohim met him. And when Yaakov saw them, he said, "This is the camp of Elohim." And he called the name of that place Machanaim. And Yaakov sent messengers before him to Esau his brother in the land of Seir, the field of Edom. And he commanded them, saying, "Say this to my master Esau, your servant Yaakov said this, I have sojourned with Lavan and stayed there until now. And I have bulls and donkeys, flocks and male and female servants, and I have sent to inform my master to find favor in your eyes." So the messengers returned to Yaakov, saying, "We came to your brother Esau, and he also is coming to meet you, and 400 men with him." And Yaakov was greatly afraid and distressed. So he divided the people that were with him, and the flocks and herds and camels, into 2 groups. And he said, "If Esau comes to the one group and attacks it, then the other group which is left shall escape." And Yaakov said, "O Elohim of my father Abraham, and Elohim of my father Yitzchak, Yahweh, who said to me, 'Return to your land and to your relatives, and I do good to you.' I do not deserve the least of all the kind acts and all the truth which you have shown your servant, for I passed over this Yarden with my staff, and now I have become 2 groups. Deliver me, I pray, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he come and shall smite me and the mother with the children. For you said, I shall certainly do good to you, and shall make your seed as the sand of the sea, which are too numerous to count. And he spent the night there, and took what came to his hand as a present for Esau his brother, 200 female goats and 20 male goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30 milk camels with their colts, 40 cows and 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys and 10 foals. And he gave into the hand of his servants every drove by itself, and said to his servants, Pass over before me, and put some distance between drove and drove. And he commanded the first one, saying, When Esau my brother meets you and asks you, saying, To whom do you belong, and where are you going, and whose are these in front of you? Then you shall say, They are your servant Yaakov's. It is a present sent to my master Esau. And see, he also is behind us. So he commanded the second and the third, and all who followed the droves, saying, Speak to Esau this same word when you find him, and you shall say, Also look, your servant Yaakov is behind us. For he said, Let me appease him with the present that goes before me, and after that see his face, he might accept me. And the present passed over before him, but he himself spent the night in the camp. And he rose up that night, and took his 2 wives, and his 2 female servants, and his 11 sons, and passed over the ford of Jabbok. And he took them, and sent them over the stream, and sent over what he had. And Yaakov was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the breaking of day. And when he saw that he did not overcome him, he touched the socket of his hip. And the socket of Yaakov's hip was dislocated as he wrestled with him. And he said, Let me go, for the day breaks. But he said, I am not letting you go until you have barak me. So he asked him, What is your name? And he said, Yaakov. And he said, Your name is no longer called Yaakov, but Yisrael, because you have striven with Elohim and with men, and have overcome. And Yaakov asked him, saying, Please let me know your name. And he said, Why do you ask about my name? And he barak him there. And Yaakov called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen Elohim face to face, and my life is preserved. And the sun rose on him as he passed over Penuel, and he limped on his hip. That is why the children of Yisrael to this day do not eat the sinew of the hip, which is on the socket of the thigh, because he touched the socket of the thigh of Yaakov in the sinew of the hip. Bereshith, chapter 33. And Yaakov lifted his eyes and looked, and saw Esau coming, and with him 400 men. And he divided the children among Leah and Rachel and the 2 female servants. And he put the female servants and their children in front, and Leah and her children behind, and Rachel and Yosef last. And he himself passed over before them, and bowed himself to the ground 7 times until he came near to his brother. And Esau ran to meet him, and embraced him, and fell on his neck, and kissed him, and they wept. And he lifted his eyes and saw the women and children, and said, Who are these with you? And he said, The children with whom Elohim has favored your servant. Then the female servants came near, they and their children, and bowed themselves. And Leah also came near with her children, and they bowed themselves. And Yosef and Rachel came near, and they bowed themselves. Then Esau said, What do you mean by all this company which I met? And he said, To find favor in the eyes of my master. But Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Let what you have remain yours. And Yaakov said, No, please, if I have now found favor in your eyes, then receive my present from my hand, because I have seen your face like seeing the face of Elohim, and you were pleased with me. Please take my barakah that is brought to you, because Elohim has favored me, and because I have all. And he urged him, and he took it, and he said, Let us depart and go, and let me go before you. But he said to him, My master knows that the children are weak, and the flocks and herds which are nursing are with me. And if the men should drive them hard one day, all the flocks shall die. Please let my master go before his servant, and let me lead on slowly according to the pace of the livestock that go before me. and according to the pace of the children, until I come to my master in Seir. And Esau said, Please let me leave with you some of the people who are with me. But he said, Why this? Let me find favor in the eyes of my master. And Esau returned that day on his way to Seir. And Yaakov departed to Succoth, and built himself a house, and made booths for his livestock. That is why the name of the place is called Succoth. And Yaakov came safely to the city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, when he came from Padan Aram. And he pitched his tent before the city, and he bought the portion of the field where he had pitched his tent from the children of Chimor, Shechem's father, for 100 kesita, and he put up an altar there and called it Il Elohehi Yisrael. Bereshith, chapter 34. And Dinah, the daughter of Leah, whom she had borne to Yaakov, went out to see the daughters of the land. And Shechem, son of Chamor the Kewite, prince of the land, saw her, and took her, and lay with her, and humbled her. And his being clung to Dinah, the daughter of Yaakov, and he loved the girl, and spoke kindly to the girl. And Shechem spoke to his father Chamor, saying, Take this girl for me for a wife. And Yaakov heard that he had defiled Dinah his daughter. Now his sons were with his livestock in the field, so Yaakov kept silent until they came. And Chamor, the father of Shechem, went out to Yaakov to speak with him. And the sons of Yaakov came in from the field when they heard it. And the men were grieved and very wroth, because he had done a senseless deed in Yisrael by lying with Yaakov's daughter, which should not be done. But Chamor spoke with them, saying, My son Shechem's being longs for your daughter. Please give her to him for a wife, and intermarry with us. Give us your daughters, and take our daughters for yourselves, and dwell with us, and let the land be before you. Dwell and move about in it, and have possessions in it. And Shechem said to her father and her brothers, Let me find favor in your eyes, and whatever you say to me I give. Ask of me a bride price and gift ever so high, and I give according to what you say to me, but give me the girl for a wife. But the sons of Yaakov answered Shechem and Chamor his father, and spoke with deceit, because he had defiled Dinah their sister. And they said to them, We are not able to do this matter, to give our sister to one who is uncircumcised, for that would be a reproach to us. Only on this would we agree to you. If you become as we are, to have every male of you circumcised, then we shall give our daughters to you, and take your daughters to us, and we shall dwell with you, and shall become one people. But if you do not listen to us and be circumcised, we shall take our daughter and go. And their words pleased Chamor and Shechem, Chamor's son. And the young man did not delay to do this, because he delighted in Yaakov's daughter. Now he was more respected than all the household of his father. And Chamor and Shechem his son came to the gate of their city, and spoke with the men of their city, saying, These men are at peace with us, so let them dwell in the land and move about in it. And see, the land is large enough for them. Let us take their daughters for us for wives, and let us give them our daughters. Only on this would the men agree to dwell with us, to be one people, if every male among us is circumcised as they are circumcised. Their herds and their possessions and all their beasts, should they not be ours? Only let us agree with them, and let them dwell with us. And all who went out of the gate of his city listened to Chamor and Shechem his son. Every male was circumcised, all who went out of the gate of his city. And it came to be on the third day, when they were in pain, that two of the sons of Yaakov, Shimon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, each took his sword and came boldly upon the city, and killed all the males. And they killed Chamor and Shechem his son with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah from Shechem's house, and went out. The sons of Yaakov came upon the slain, and plundered the city, because they had defiled their sister. They took their flocks and their herds, and their donkeys, and that which was in the city, and that which was in the field, and all their wealth, and all their little ones and their wives they took captive, and they plundered all that was in the houses. And Yaakov said to Shimon and Levi, You have troubled me by making me a stench among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites. And I am few in number. They shall gather themselves against me and shall smite me, and I shall be destroyed, my household and I. But they said, Should he treat our sister like a whore? Bereshith, chapter 35. And Elohim said to Yaakov, Arise, go up to Beth-el, and dwell there, and make an altar there to El who appeared to you when you fled from the face of Esau your brother. And Yaakov said to his household and to all who were with him, Put away the foreign mighty ones that are among you, and cleanse yourselves, and change your garments. And let us arise and go up to Bethel, and let me make there an altar to El, who answered me in the day of my distress, and has been with me in the way which I have gone. So they gave Yaakov all the foreign mighty ones which were in their hands, and all their earrings which were in their ears. And Yaakov hid them under the terebinth tree which was near Shechem. And they departed, and the fear of Elohim was upon the cities that were all around them. And they did not pursue the sons of Yaakov. And Yaakov came to Luz, that is Beth-el, which is in the land of Canaan, he and all the people who were with him. And he built there an altar, and called the place El-Beth-el, because there Elohim appeared to him when he fled from the face of his brother. And Devorah, Rivkah's nurse, died, and she was buried below Beth-el under the terebinth tree. So the name of it was called Allon-Bachuth. And Elohim appeared to Yaakov again when he came from Paddan Aram and Barak him. And Elohim said to him, Your name is Yaakov, your name is no longer called Yaakov, but Yisrael is your name. So he called his name Yisrael. And Elohim said to him, I am El Shaddai. Bear fruit and increase. A nation and a company of nations shall be from you, and sovereigns come from your body. And the land which I gave Avraham and Yitzchak I give to you, and to your seed after you I give this land. And Elohim went up from him in the place where he had spoken with him. And Yaakov put up a standing column in the place where he had spoken with him, a monument of stone, and he poured a drink offering on it, and he poured oil on it. And Yaakov called the name of the place where Elohim spoke with him, Bethel. Then they departed from Bethel. And it came to be, when there was but a little distance to go to Ephrath, that Rachel began to give birth, and had great difficulty giving birth. And it came to be, as she was having great difficulty giving birth, that the midwife said to her, Do not fear, for it is another son for you. And it came to be, as her life was going out, for she died, that she called his name Ben-Oni. But his father called him Binyamin. So Rachel died and was buried on the way to Ephrath, that is, Beth-lechem. And Yaakov put a standing column on her grave, which is the monument of Rachel's grave to this day. And Yisrael departed and pitched his tent beyond the tower of Edher. And it came to be, when Yisrael dwelt in that land, that Reuven went and lay with Bilhah his father's concubine. And Yisrael heard about it. Now the sons of Yaakov were 12. The sons of Leah were Reuven, Yaakov's firstborn, and Shimon, and Lewi, and Yahudah, and Yisachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel were Joseph and Binyamin. The sons of Bilhah, Rachel's female servant, were Dan and Naphtali. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's female servant, were Gad and Asher. These were the sons of Yaakov who were born to him in Paddan Aram. And Yaakov came to his father Yitzchak at Mamre, or Kiryath Arba, that is, Kevron, where Avraham and Yitzchak had dwelt. And the days of Yitzchak were 180 years. So Yitzchak breathed his last and died, and was gathered to his people, aged and satisfied of days. And his sons Esau and Yaakov buried him.